Special Olympics British Columbia Coach Diary with Dr. Laura Ferris. Reflective Practice.
Okay, becoming a better coach from the inside out. This diary is aimed at making you a better coach by looking at the things that you do as a coach yourself, your behaviors, as well as how you interact with the athletes and the types of things that you do with them. So what we're going to look at in here is kind of work through some of the different modules that you have, and I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of highlight around some of the key things to give you a bit of a framework from which to look at as you work in your groups. First of all, I want to thank you for being a coach. At the time we're taping this, the Olympics is just about over, about 5 days left. And one of my favorite parts of the Olympics is the Difference Makers. It's a series where they look at people in athletes' lives who have made a big difference. And one of the things that always comes up for most of the athletes has to do with the coach. One coach who makes that difference. And that's the thing about coaching, is that you have a significant impact, or can have a significant impact. And that's what we want to do here, is we want to support you in being the best that you can possibly be as a coach. And a big part of that is recognizing that when you get put in the coaching position, sometimes you feel like, I should be an expert. I should know what I'm doing. And when we do that sometimes, what happens is we create rigidity. And it's difficult for us to be able to maybe make mistakes or feel like it's okay to make mistakes. And I think what you want to do as a coach is be able to model that you can be the expert, but that you can also look at performance as ongoing learning, and that you as a coach are always learning. And that's really what we look at. I work with coaches from all different levels, Olympic level, all the way down to recreational. And one of the things that's important that I see with the best coaches is that they approach every task like, what can I learn here? What can I gain? What can I take from this situation? And it's not that they don't make mistakes as well, but it means that they're able to be open to different ways of doing things. And that's really what we want to try and do here, is maybe offer you some different ideas, different ways to approach things. One of the most important things in learning is learning from your experiences. As a coach, you come to the situation with tons of different experiences and exposures and things. And some of them may not be as familiar with coaching, but there's lots of things that you can apply from your work, from being a parent, from all different sorts of situations. And what we want to look at is, how do we learn most effectively from those situations? And at the heart of learning is the reflection process. We have to think back to understand why we did something, how we could do it better. And really, that is what we call experiential learning cycle. The first thing you do in any situation is you act. You got to try, you got to start. But from that, then what we need to do is we have to reflect. What happened here? What did I do? Describing the situation. And then the next part is kind of the conceptualizing it. So what? So now that I've done this, what did I learn? What do I take? How could I have done that better? And then from there, what we do is we take those ideas that we've learned and we apply them again. And we look at, how could I do this better? If I were to do it again, how would I do it this time? And then you act. And then you start the whole cycle again. And as I said, the best coaches I've ever worked with at the elite level do this all the time. After every performance, after every practice, they go through this kind of checklist of things. What did I do well? What did I not like so much? What do I need to adjust? And then they apply it again. So part of this diary is getting you to focus on those things and to really think about yourself through the reflection process. And one of the things that you want to start with is to think about different ways that you can do this. So the journal is just one way, or a diary is one way of doing it. Your discussions with other coaches that you'll have. Those are really important. Sometimes coaching is a very lonely profession. We don't have the support that we would like to be able to bounce ideas off of people. But within these groups, our hope is that you'll be able to discuss, learn from each other, as well as get some ideas of different ways that you could approach some things, as well as get some support. Season projects, setting some goals for yourself. Even if you try one thing from these discussions that you have and you put it into play, that's one step closer to trying to be a little bit better at what you are and what you're doing as a coach. And then the final thing is videoing. Now that can be kind of a vulnerable thing to do, but videoing can be really, really insightful in the sense of you see things sometimes in yourself that you might not recognize otherwise. So it's sometimes the things that people see in us. So what you want to try and do is, if you can, at some point, and some of the lessons that we'll talk about, you can videotape yourself and reflect and watch how you're doing. What we want to really focus on here is taking a growth mindset, is really looking at remembering that success and failure are not opposites of each other, but rather they're intimately connected. and necessary parts of the learning process. So through this, what you're going to try and do for this first task is to look at your best and worst performances as a coach and really understand what was the difference, what went on, and what makes me at my best.